everybody, this is John for MTG Nexus coming at you with some more Incinerator Burn, this time with a slight meme twist, and I'll explain that as we get into the video. As a friendly reminder, if you like modern content, especially of the lightning bolt based variety, please consider subscribing to the channel, as we aim to be the most informative modern channel on YouTube with a little bit of Pioneer and Legacy thrown into the mix. So, over this year, when Blue has become the dominant brand, when Oko was a thing, and Blue decks were kind of dominating with Urza and such, there was a deck that popped up that was kind of a meme, that was a blue splash within traditional, like, red burn. That particular version had, like, Opt in the main, had some mystical disputes in the sideboard, etc. And every once in a while I've come back to revisit this particular build. And this weekend, possibly being Snow's last hurrah, and watching a lot of the coverage of this past Sunday's Modern Challenge, both watching Aspiring Spikes and Gabriel Nassif's stream, I was seeing a lot of blue mirrors. So, why is that relevant? So this weekend is the Challenge Open weekends for MTGO, where each format, Standard, Modern, Pioneer, Legacy, Vintage, and Limited, all have their open challenges, which is basically a contest to qualify for a smaller, more prestigious event. And you have to have 40 qualifier points, which I happen to have, and can only play in one event. So I'm choosing to play in the Modern event, and I'm trying to find the right mix of deck for the a meta that I'm expecting to be very heavy on things like Dredge, E-Tron, and Blue. Snow decks in particular. So, realistically, I don't have time to test a lot of Death Shadow, so Death Shadow is kind of out right now. So basically I'm down to two decks. I'm down to Incinerator Burn, and I'm down to Gruul. The only reason Gruul is considered an option is because it's proven to be fairly good in this current meta. We had a 5.0 video of it the other day. So, the only reason Gruul is really in the consideration, and otherwise that, I'm just kind of testing various versions of Incinerator. I've been very impressed with Incinerator overall. I do think it helps but helps out a lot of Burn's bad matchups. This card alone can take down games against E-Tron and Dredge, which are two decks I expect to be kind of out in force this weekend. Mainly because they both give Snow fits in their own regard. And then Gruul, obviously. But I think Burn has a close matchup against Gruul with a little bit of sideboard help. I think that helps. So, anywho, main deck, mono red. Only difference between this and our Boros lists is the fact that the 4 Skullcracks are in the main as opposed to Boros Charms. Just take a little bit away of the combo potential of Incinerator, but still very powerful overall. We're back to the 4 Seal of Fire, 4 Chandra's Incinerator. This might get changed for like a Grim Lavamancer or 2 in the face of Gabos also being another deck to consider this weekend. But beyond that, main deck with obviously the red-blue mana base as opposed to the Boros mana base. And the sideboard is where things get a little bit interesting. So without access to white, our sideboard kind of changes from things like Rest in Peace and Core Firewalker to Relic of Progenitus for Graveyard Hate. Not the best. It's not as good as Tormod's Crypt, but this is also a card that I can bring in against Snow and not feel terribly bad about it. 4 copies of Smash to Smithereens. This is pretty much solely for Eldrazi Tron. A deck that got a little bit of a recent boost with the printing of the Mind Trap or something like that, where basically an artifact that scries every upkeep for them and also can draw them cards. Also gains them 4 life. So, things that none of which we like. 2 copies of Dismember. This is kind of our Path to Exile fill-in. Obviously, it's not great in a lot of spots. Might have to bring in the Burn Mirror for things like Core Firewalker. Not that I would be happy to do that, but also, helps things, kills like Tarmogoyf, Glorybringer, etc. 2 copies of Aethergust. This is kind of our anti-burn package at the moment, mainly to deal with red spells and core firewalkers. Not ideal overall, and this could cost us some points in the burn mirror, which I do expect to see some of, but I don't know. Burn hasn't been doing particularly well in the challenges even of late, so other than Lord Beerus doing his consistent top 32s. So this is kind of my hedge against Burn. Also, Ether Gust is pretty decent in small numbers against the Black-Green X deck. Or not the Black-Green X. Yeah, it's good against Black-Green X, but pretty much good against the Snow decks. You know, tags an Uro, tags and Coatl at the wrong time for them, etc. So Ether Gust in some small numbers isn't terrible. The main reason we're splashing blue is Mystical Dispute. Now, this card is a direct counter to the blue decks. This can counter the front end of an Uro, can counter the back end of an Uro. Did I mention Uro? The card that basically swings the blue-white, blue-green X matchups for those decks is Uro. And having as many answers to that card that doesn't involve killing it as possible, I think, are going to be a key to that matchup. I don't terribly like Ether Gust in that sense, but it's a card that happens to fill in nicely. A lot of these blue decks are playing Ether Gust anyway. It's part of what makes Incinerator a lot worse in those matchups, is they can just Ether Gust it back to the top of our deck. And we've wasted a lot of resources to do that, so this card being easily answered, kind of figured it's kind of easy to counter back. Then Mystical Dispute obviously can mess with our counter spells, mess with our planeswalkers, so counter a Coatl on a key turn. Hopefully it's enough to help swing the matchup, but I don't know that we'll get enough testing with this for me to feel confident with this particular building style, but I did want to run it through a league just to remind people that, just because Boros has done well, or Poseidon's Naya version have done well, or Mono Red had done well, that sometimes you need to look at all the parts of the buffalo, so to speak. So, that said, let us hop into a league and see how this goes. We're back with match number 1. We are on the play. Well, one of those awkward hands, right? Guess we keep it just because of the opener, but this hand could definitely come back to bite us if we don't draw some more spells to pair with Lava Spike here. So, I'm keeping it mainly because this opener is just pretty good in most matchups. Alright. And obviously, Eidolon could trigger on our turn potentially, because opponents like to get too cute with things. I didn't show you the blue splash yet, especially since we have no blue cards in our main deck. Okay, we're up against the blue deck of some kind. Could be Prowess, could be Dredge. Alright, cool. By cool, I mean not a good matchup and not a good draw against Dredge. Trigger, land on top. Not properly milling during our end step. I get to Dredge, which is annoying. Alright. Access to Oxen can flag. They could just very well can flag our board this turn. So they're going to cast Cathartic instead. There's not quite enough cards in the graveyard to Ox right now. This is just a flag for 4. Unlikely your opponent's ever going to trigger this during our turn, so my sequencing was incorrect here, but yeah, these are just going to be basically 2 dead cards. I could wait 1 turn to try to draw something. But I haven't hit a conflag yet, which is kind of good for the home team, so to speak. But they are going to get 1, 2, 3 blood gas and an amalgam back next turn, or they're just bringing back Ox and about to go completely ape crap. Yeah, they're definitely oxing here. They're cathartic. Interesting. Alright, there's a chill. There's an Archamoeba. 2 chills, we can no longer win. Alright, on to the next game. So, 3 copies of Relic. Well, kind of hard to say. Eidolon's not great in the matchup. It's okay, but it's not great. Ether Gust isn't do enough. Does it? Actually, Ether Gust might be pretty decent on the draw on the play, because it can hit Cathartic for some value. It can hit Conflagrate for some value. It can hit Loam for a turn. Is buying a turn against them worth it? Might be. I guess when you're playing a meme and trying to make it a dream, you gotta be a little bit interesting with how you approach things. Go down 1 Incinerator. We don't mind seeing 1 in our opening hand, but 2 was just putrid there. This hand's good. You know, without actual graveyard hate in our opening hand, this hand's like a lot good pressure. Sometimes if the dredge deck is a little bit slow, that's fine, especially on the play. Maybe we'll hit a Relic or something somewhere along this. One thing I don't like about the blue-red lands is the blue is the first thing. Shut the Veils. They're going to have Haggle up. Nope, just going with the Shriekhorn. Certainly a reason to bring in something like you could certainly argue about bringing in Smash to Smithereens, but I think that's just going too far down the rabbit hole. Trigger. Okay, so we're getting chilled. Yay. If they're smart, they'll trigger this now. Yep. Golgari Thug on top. So they're going to get to Dredge next turn. Put them to 14. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is why Dredge is a bad matchup for Burn. Save the point of damage for now. This is just a loam. Just loam. So do we have an out? Put them to 10, put them to... So put them to 10, that puts them to 6. Or 7. Kill this, hit them for 4. Put them to 3. So if we hit a... 3 damage spell, we can kill them. Otherwise, we're pretty much dead. Alright, well, we're dead next turn regardless, so... Yep. Kind of dumb here, you know. Just, we're dead because they can flag right in the yard, pretty much. So... We will deal 25 points of damage on turn 4. Drawing a couple more lands anyway. So, Burn versus Dredge. Tough to match up. We're back for match number 2. 3, 6, 9, 11. I think we can do better than this hand. This hand's already better-ish. Put back. Basically, I was just doing the math, and it's really hard for these mono-red variants to do 20 points of burn. And it looks like we're going to be up against a Death Shadow variant. Going turn. Shroud Bauble, Steam Vents. Could still very much be Death Shadow, but I have my doubts now. Maybe the Red Prowess deck? Or blue-red Prowess deck. Yep. Alright, some type of combo deck. Our objective is to get you dead. Another grinding station, probably not exactly what they want to see. On one, do you have a third land? No, we know you have a third land. Guarantee force the explosion here. Never have understood why people don't crack their fetch lands before the oh, so they're just Jeskai Breach. Okay. Memory, sure. Just play a Seal of Fire here and kill the Emery. We're going to get punished by Metallic Rebuke. Of course we are. Put with one card in hand. Okay. Please be lethal. Really? I'm really beginning to hate that card. So I'm probably dead. There's an Underworld Breach. from here. Not drawing anything anymore anyway. Alright, so bringing relics. They're likely to go down on the combo a little bit, but bring these in. Incinerator out. This might just be a bunch of incinerators out kind of matchup, just because both getting it countered, Ether Gusted, and Teferi are all kind of bad. Now granted, they may not leave Teferi in, but at the same time, it's a card that can blow out Incinerator and does make it impossible for us to interact with our combo outside of Relic. Depends on what version they're staying on here. No lander, okay. Actively terrible hand. I still think we keep it because of Eidolon. I'm not sure hand do you spew this turn. Hopefully it's just like that into nothing else. Right along, go. If you have EE, you're going to have to play it this turn. Just for one. Okay, just have all the small creature hate, sure. Still could have Metallic Rebuke up here, so I just played Land and Pass. Okay. They're Gust in their yard, as suspected. I did this turn, Jim. Yeah, we're dead. So you can just grind through their entire deck and kill us. Yay! We are back for match number 3 on the draw against a Gigantha deck. So Gigantha indicates either Prowess or Prowess Niv or Tron. This hand's okay against Prowess, but really garbage against Niv and Tron. So I think I'm gonna no, we'll keep it. This hand doesn't have 9, 12, 14 points of burn. Feels like we're up against Tron. Yep. This hand is admittedly pretty soft too. Okay, so I just got infinitely better. This opponent will have Tron on 3. Just depends on what their payoff is, I guess. Wow, 1 lander, huh? Nope, just already have Tron on hand. Spike. Guess we could theoretically have held up Skullcrack there in case they have like some main deck Thragtusk or something. Yep. There's that Natty Tron. Skullcrack here. As long as they don't have Ulamog. Sugar Snap. So Bolt, I guess. Rip a burn spell here. That's a pretty good one. Killing Tron turn 4 through 90 Tron, and that doesn't seem great, but was what it was. So there's a number of different roads we could take. I think Smash to Smithereens in some numbers is correct. Blank's Wormcoil Engine for a turn or 2, etc., etc. 2 Eidolons at least come out on the draw. May just honestly be 4 Eidolons. They have Map, Wormcoil, the Stars, which you really don't want to be targeting with stuff. I think it might just be 2 for 2 right now. Like, Gust can come in against, like, Gigantha and Thragtusk and stuff, but that's very suspect. A lot better on the draw when you could potentially tag a Sylvan Scrying. And Mystical Dispute, don't even get me started on that card in this matchup. I've had to board it in at points against decks that I just don't want to, but this is definitely okay, not a keep. This hand also is garbage. Do I risk keeping this hand? 3, 6, 9, 11. No, it just has to get too lucky. This hand, likewise, is terrible. Back a land and a 1 smash. Yep, if we were on the play, this hand would be much closer to a comp. Well, hello there. Problem is, on a mull 6, they probably have. Yep, Natty Tron. I guess a lot of it depends on what their payoff is. What? Oh. Sure. So we're either getting Ugin or you have to have Nature's Claim, right? Sure. Well, if you have Nature's Claim, we're pretty much dead. Which is exactly what you were playing like all along. Yep. All the garbage cards to lose to Bottle Gnomes. Okay. Wish for Worm Coil next turn. Sure. Okay. Sure. Still don't think I want more than that. Sounds terrible. Hand's decent enough. Okay, so they're going to take some damage to deal with Eidolon one way or the other. Yep. So Eidolon's doing at least 4. Don't think this is quite the turn 3 kill here, but it's certainly a lot of damage. Alright, what's your payoff? Not good enough here, friend. Yep. Alright, 1 and 2. On to the next match. We're back for match number 4. It's been a wild ride so far. Hand's pretty good. Painful, but good. Aggressively mulliganing tends to indicate Tron or Dredge. Like I said, tends to indicate, doesn't always mean. Okay, it is indeed Tron. I'm just doing the math here to see if Incinerator is worth playing out. So 3, 6, 6, 6 that gets tagged by a Karn. I think if we were on the play, we'd go for the Incinerator play, but I just think traditional burn tactics are a little bit better here. Okay, so they're not Ancient Stirrings. probably not great for them. So maybe the Incinerator plan would have been better here. Another engine's turn, sure. Okay, they have tower now. We knew they draw Ballista, so they'll probably play Ballista as an X1 here just to block. Which is Bolt then better used as a to the face or to the... Oh, okay. Never mind. Sure. Bolt to the face. Not even should they happen to have something like a drag test this turn, we get to just kind of plow through it. Presume you're just going to crack this in your draw step or upkeep, because you really don't want to draw Bolt up here. Why would you draw map? That doesn't make much sense. So you have access to 5 mana, one of which could be green. There's mine. So Thrag Tusk puts you to... Okay, feels like a Thrag Tusk. Which ironically is, like, more than fine. Okay, never mind, you're dead. There's nothing for 4 mana I remotely care about here. I guess Thought-Knot Seer, yeah, O-Stone doesn't matter because you're dead on board. Like, even if you play Ballista here, like, I legit don't even have to cast a spell. Alright. Probably want smashes in some number. Eidolons can probably go out in some number. Notably, they didn't reveal Gigantha, so Aethergas probably a little bit worse than it was in the other Tron matchup. We were even on the draw that game and stole one, which is nice. Still don't think we want any of these other cards, so could want more smashes potentially, but like, problem with smash is it doesn't always have relevant targets. I seems to be watering for some reason. Been a really weird league. Dredge is just a bad matchup in general. You know, we were almost able to steal game 2, missed out by 1 point, and then Breach. like, Rest in Peace could have bought us a turn or two. Yeah, seems pretty good. Fortunately, our Tron opponent is keeping 7, so we're probably in some trouble. Danger, danger, Will Robinson. I was gonna say, ironically, I think this hand wants at least one more land just to get all of its spells out. Eidolon significantly worse on the draw. Okay, presuming Sylvan Scrying here. Yep. So Tron on 3. So do I even bother with Eidolon at this point? That's why I don't like Eidolon on the draw. If they have to do some cantripping with some stone, with some stars and spheres, Eidolon might be worth it. But if they just like slam a Worm Coil Engine here, it's just kind of like Garbo. O-Stone? O-Stone's not their best turn play here, but take 2 and then they have to take at least another 4. Worm Coil is definitely the worst card for us here. Feels like something not Worm Coil-ish. Okay. Feels like they have a Stars and Spheres turn then. Yep. Let's say. So you kept a I have a Tron hand. Gotcha. Unfortunately, on the draw, I'm not sure how much we can actually leverage that, but Expedition map, sure. Curious if they block here or if this is their only payoff. Ironically, okay. Swag Tusk. I get punished for holding up. Yep. I get punished for not holding up Skullcrack here. I mean, even so, that would put them to 13. this. Put that tap in case we have the mana next turn. Opponent is playing moderately loose. So we know one of the 4 cards in their hand is a expedition map. Okay. Sure. Does Beastie Boy get frisky? It does not. Alright. So I don't think our opponent's playing particularly well. We're just not winning from this point. We're definitely not winning from that point. Alright, so Eidolon's much better on the play. Yes. I don't think this is quite a turn 3 kill, but it's pretty good. For those of you that questioned Monastery Swiftspear's fate in a an Incinerator build, these are the kind of hands I simply say, this is why Swiftspear is sometimes your best creature in the deck. Turns all of your spells into an extra point of damage. And if we happen to rip a second one, could be pretty good. Alright, so should have 14. Sure. Okay, put you to 8. Put you to 5. Put you to 1. Not quite lethal, but... Do you have Tron here? Alright, so you're dead. Blocking Ballista. Yep, not quite good enough, friend. Good game, though. We are back for the fifth and final match in the set. We're on the playing, which is always a nice feeling. The dreaded one-lander. Sure. Sure. I don't know. Maybe I was supposed to keep the, whatchamacallit, just to have the whatchamacallit. Rift Bolt just to have an answer to a creature. Okay, so Blast Zone, so either Tron or Eldrazi Tron. Well, if it's Eldrazi Tron, we're going to have a bunch of stuff stuck in our hands, but, you know. Trigger Tower. Trigger Matter Reshaper. Trigger Matter Reshaper. Okay, so it's E-Tron. Gotcha. Still nothing. Okay. Sure. Yeah, was 2 lands, 4 GGs, and Rift Alright, so those are pretty decent. Smashes are pretty decent. Actually, probably want smashes in this matchup. Got the Eidolons. curve perspective, do I want to board out skull cracks? Guess. This hand's really awkward. I think this hand's just too reactive. Yeah, we have our hate card for Chalice, but we're just dead this game. We're dead, Jim. We're dead. Raise Mind Tome. A little bit rough for the home team here because they get to gain 4 life off of it. Okay. It's going to scry that away. Okay, give him a land. Fortunately, it is not Tron. Ballista on 2, or yeah. Okay, that's fine. No, that wouldn't do any good anyway. Block 1, kill 1. Reality Smasher. Dismember and bolt this turn. Problem is, our opponent's is basically at a virtual 18. The longer this game goes, and this Incinerator is really awkward. Alright, bolt you in response. Alright, well. I think we finally hit a point where Incinerator's been terribly awkward the entire league so far. Cutting Skull Cracks seems poor in the face of Maze Mind Tomes. Just saying. Incinerator on the play is one of our better things here. And for all the marbles, it's got another terrible hand. Huh. Yep, mulligan. This hand's at least okay, I guess. Keep. Put back Seal of Fire and Lava Spike, I guess. Opponent kept 6, so we're in a lot of trouble. Arcane Ballista, sure. Tron lands like it's freaking candy. Okay. Sure. Pop that. Just have an Tron anyway. Not Seer or Ballista for 2. Ballista for 2 is fine. Matter Shaper's fine. Don't need to attack. All right. Yep, have blue cards in our deck, right? Bolt you. Bolt you. Yep. And we're just dead on board. So close yet so far away. And dead. Close matchup, but, you know. Anyways, on to the wrap-up. Hey, we're back for the wrap-up with... Is it Burn? Blue Splash Burn. Yeah. That league was a dumpster fire. So... I think that was the first league where Incinerator was just complete garbage. A lot of awkward hands, a lot of situations where we got stuck in our hand. I think there are a couple ways to mitigate that a little bit. Maybe put Grim Lavamancers in the main, like some of the mono red versions have been doing. It's a little bit more all-in on the Incinerator, but it would help in some of the creature-based matchups. The matches overall, Dredge, not a fantastic matchup for Burn, especially when you're on like Relic as your Graveyard Hate or Tormod's Crypt, which is kind of what it has access to. The double Creeping Chill in Game 2 got us there. The Jeskai Breach matchup, it's really hard to beat a deck that's just got like Gal Blast into Pyroclasm when you're on a creature draw. Not too many decks are that prepared for a Weenie Rush. And they have a fast combo to boot, which is kind of rough. You know, Eidolon's like our best card in that particular matchup against their combo variants. And even then, I think we were just a little bit unlucky there. The two Tron matchups, you know, that's kind of how the Tron matchup goes. Like, whoever's on the play is at a tremendous advantage. And then E-Tron, you know, we basically did the Burn thing. We cheesed them out on the play game 1. Game 2, they beat us because of some awkward hands, although we kind of made it closer a game than it had any business being on a multiply. And then game number 3, we mulliganed again. And then, you know, had one draw step, 2 rip, you know, Seal of Fire, Lava Spike, Lightning Bolt, whatever. And then we had a redraw that literally could like hit one of like 12 cards to win the game, and we hit a creature. So, unfortunate. 2-3, a little bit disappointing. I don't really think you can take a lot of stock in that particular league. Yeah, I continue to be very middling on this build, on these blue builds. You know, I explained the theory behind them, like what we're trying to accomplish, but like the loss of even the green cards or the red or the white cards just feels bad in a lot of spots. Like, at least if you're playing Gruul, even, you have access to like D-Rev and Klothys out of the board, in addition to like Tormod's Crypts. If you're playing the White Splash, obviously, which is the primary one, You have access to Path, Rest in Peace, etc. Core Firewalker in the mirror match. And then, you're not forced to play cards like Dismember as your additional removal spells. But, yeah, we had some really bad mulligans this league, in part because of Incinerator, in part just because we had some really bad draws. But I think if there were ever a league that I would point to that we've played so far, with Incinerator being really, really awkward and like underperforming in a league, and then Seal of Fire coming back to bite us in some spots, I think this would definitely be the league. Like, Seal of Fire in one game against Dredge left us exactly a point short of lethal against Dredge. Incinerator got stuck in our hand, probably the most it has in any league so far. So, disappointing, but a lot of mulligans this league. So, can't really take too much from it other than, Incinerator does come at the cost of making the deck a little more inconsistent. So, what can you do? Anyways, this has been John for MTG Nexus, experimenting with a little bit of a blue splash in Incinerator Burn.